Some people wake up early and check the weather on their phone. A small sun icon can make them smile. A snow symbol can make them sigh. Yet on one part of our planet, the weather is not just cold. It is a world of endless ice, silent winds, and months without sunlight. Antarctica is the coldest and loneliest place on Earth, and its story is filled with brave people, strange dreams, and quiet survival. As we walk through this story, you will hear clear English about nature, survival, and human courage. The language is simple, but the ideas are deep, and they stay with you. Like the video, share it with someone who loves cold places, and tell me in the comments, could you live 1 month in Antarctica? The day often begins with small habits. A warm drink, a quick look outside the window, maybe a quiet moment before the world becomes busy. Most of us live in places where trees move in the wind and birds sing in the morning. But there is a place on Earth where mornings feel very different. In Antarctica, there are no cities, no busy streets, no sound of cars, only ice. Ice that stretches so far that the human eye cannot see the end. The air can freeze your breath. The wind can move across the land for hours without meeting a single tree. In winter, the sun disappears for months. Darkness covers the land like a heavy blanket. And yet, people still travel there. They go there to learn, to study the Earth, to understand our planet better. But the story of Antarctica did not begin with scientists in warm research stations. It began long ago when people believed that a hidden land waited in the far south, a land no one had seen. Thousands of years ago, ancient Greek thinkers studied the world with deep curiosity. They looked at the stars, they watched the seasons, they tried to understand balance in nature. One Greek thinker named Aristotle believed the Earth must stay balanced. If there was land in the north, there must also be land in the south. He spoke about a place called Terra Australis. Terra Australis means southern land. No one had seen this land. It was only an idea, yet the idea stayed alive for many centuries. Maps from the old world sometimes showed a huge, unknown continent at the bottom of the Earth. Artists drew it as a giant land of mystery. Some people imagined forests, others imagined strange animals. But no ship had reached it. In those days, sailing far from land was frightening. The ocean felt endless. Storms could break ships like thin wood toys. Still, sailors were curious people. Curiosity means a strong wish to know something new. During the age of great sea travel, European ships began to move farther across the world. They crossed wide oceans. They searched for new trade routes and new lands. Some sailors slowly moved south. The ocean became colder. Ice started to appear in the water. Large pieces of floating ice are called icebergs. Icebergs can be huge. Some are as big as small towns. Sailors knew these waters were dangerous. In the year 1773, a British explorer named James Cook sailed farther south than most people before him. His ships moved through cold grey water. Ice surrounded them. Cook never stepped on Antarctica itself. Thick ice blocked the way, but he saw something very clear. The land, if it existed, must be extremely cold. And Cook wrote that no human would want to live there. For many years, his words stopped explorers from trying again. The Southern Ocean stayed quiet. Ships passed by. Few people searched for the hidden continent. Then, the 19th century arrived. The world was changing. New ships were stronger. New tools helped sailors move across the sea. And curiosity returned. In 1820, 3 different groups of explorers reported seeing land through the icy fog. One group came from Russia, another from Britain, another from America. They all saw the same thing, a white coast rising from the ocean. This was Antarctica. Even then, landing on the land was not easy. Ice blocked the shores. Huge frozen cliffs stood above the sea. Still, people kept trying. Seal hunters were among the first to step onto the frozen land, and they hunted seals for their oil and skin. It was hard and lonely work. Life there was harsh. Food was simple. The cold entered their clothes and bones. Storms could trap men for days. Some hunters never returned home. This is one quiet sadness in the story of Antarctica. Many early travelers left no record of their lives. They came, they struggled, then they disappeared into the cold history of the place. Yet humans kept coming. I think this tells us something gentle about people. We are small compared to nature. Still, we want to understand it. By the early 20th century, Antarctica became a stage for brave expeditions. Expeditions are organized journeys with a clear goal. These journeys were not easy adventures. They were slow battles against cold, hunger, and endless white land. And one famous explorer was a Norwegian man named Roald Amundsen. Another was a British officer named Robert Falcon Scott. Both men wanted the same prize. They wanted to reach the South Pole. The South Pole is the southernmost point on Earth. Every direction from that point leads north. In 1911, Amundsen moved across the ice with sled dogs that could pull heavy sleds over snow. Scott followed with men and ponies. The race across Antarctica had begun. The cold was deep. Temperatures fell far below zero. The wind cut through clothing. Days felt endless. Every step across the ice required strength and patience. Amundsen reached the South Pole first. He placed a small flag in the snow. It was a quiet moment in a silent world. Scott arrived weeks later. He saw the Norwegian flag already standing there. The disappointment must have been heavy. Yet the hardest part of Scott's story came later. On the journey back, Scott and his team faced terrible weather. Food ran low. The cold became deadly. One by one, the men grew weaker. Scott wrote calm words in his diary during the final days. Then the small tent became their last shelter. When rescuers found them months later, the diary still rested beside Scott. This moment often brings a quiet pause to the story. It reminds us that courage sometimes walks beside loss. But the story of Antarctica did not end with these explorers. In fact, their journeys opened a new chapter, a chapter where people did not come to conquer the land. They came to learn from it. And that change slowly began to shape the frozen continent. The frozen continent slowly changed its meaning in the human mind. For many years, explorers came to prove courage. They wanted to place a flag in new snow. They wanted their names written on maps. But something softer began to grow after those early expeditions. People started to see Antarctica not as land to win, but as a place to study. Ships still crossed the cold ocean. Yet now the people on board were often scientists. Scientists are people who study nature carefully. They watch, measure, and write what they see. They looked at the ice. They studied the wind. They watched animals move across the frozen water. At first, their camps were small and fragile. Fragile means easy to break or damage. Wood huts stood against endless white land. Thin walls tried to stop the wind. Inside those huts, small stoves burned slowly. Even simple heat felt precious there. Men slept close together in heavy sleeping bags. They woke to the sound of wind hitting the walls. Outside, the world looked almost empty. But it was not truly empty. Penguins walked across the ice like small groups of travelers. Seals rested on the frozen shore. In summer, birds flew across the pale sky. Life existed there, quiet strong. Scientists began to understand that Antarctica holds many secrets about our planet. The ice itself is like a book. Inside the ice are tiny pieces of old air. These pieces of air come from the past. Some are thousands of years old. When scientists study this ice, they can learn about Earth's old climate. Climate means the long pattern of weather in a place. They drill deep holes into the ice, sometimes more than 3 kilometers down. Each layer tells a story. Snow fell long ago. It slowly turned into ice. Then new snow covered it. Year after year, century after century. When scientists read these layers, they see how our planet has changed. Colder years, warmer years. The ice remembers everything. By the middle of the 20th century, many countries wanted to build research stations in Antarctica. These stations are small living places for scientists. They include sleeping rooms, labs, kitchens, and storage areas. Life inside a station is very different from normal life. People cannot simply walk to a store. They cannot drive to another city. For months, the outside world is far away. Food arrives by ship or plane. Every tool matters. Every small object must be planned before winter begins. Winter in Antarctica is long and dark. The sun disappears for weeks, sometimes months. The sky stays black. Only stars and the moon bring light. During this time, scientists live together in close groups. They cook meals. They share stories. They work long hours in small labs. Outside, the wind may scream across the ice. Inside, warm lights glow softly. One scientist once said that winter in Antarctica feels like living on another planet. I think that description feels very true, because the land itself is almost otherworldly. The ice can be 2 kilometers thick in some places. Mountains hide beneath it. Lakes of liquid water exist far below the frozen surface. Yes, real lakes under the ice. The pressure of the ice above keeps the water from freezing. These hidden lakes stayed untouched for thousands of years. Studying them helps scientists understand life in extreme places. Extreme means very difficult conditions. Cold, darkness, isolation. And all of these shape life in Antarctica. Yet people keep returning there. Not because it is comfortable, but because it teaches us something about Earth. In 1959, many countries made an agreement about Antarctica. They signed the Antarctic Treaty. A treaty is a formal promise between nations. This treaty said something unusual. No country could own Antarctica. No military activity would happen there. The continent would belong to science and peace. This decision still feels rare in our world. One whole continent protected for learning. Today, more than 30 research stations stand across Antarctica. Some belong to the United States, some to Russia, some to China, others to many different nations. Inside these stations, people from many cultures work side by side. Language differences become smaller when survival depends on teamwork. Outside the station doors, the cold does not care about nationality. Everyone must respect the same powerful environment. Daily life in these stations follows careful routines. Morning often begins with weather checks. The wind speed matters. The temperature matters. Even small changes can affect work outside. Scientists wear heavy layered clothing. Layers mean many pieces of clothing worn together. Each layer keeps warmth close to the body. Thick boots protect feet from frozen ground. Goggles protect eyes from bright snow. Snow can reflect sunlight strongly. Without protection, eyes can hurt badly. Work outside must happen carefully. One mistake in deep cold can become dangerous. Still, there are moments of quiet beauty. In summer, the sun never sets. It circles the sky slowly. Day and night blend together. Shadows stretch across the ice in soft blue colors. Sometimes the sky fills with green and purple light. This is the aurora. Aurora is a natural light show in the sky. It appears when energy from the sun touches Earth's atmosphere. The lights move slowly like silent waves. People often stand outside just to watch. In those moments, Antarctica does not feel lonely. It feels peaceful. Yet there are also harder moments. Isolation can weigh heavily on the mind. Isolation means being far away from others. Months may pass without seeing new faces. Some scientists say the quiet becomes almost physical. You can feel it. Letters from home arrive rarely. Internet signals can be weak. Birthdays pass quietly. Families live thousands of kilometers away. One researcher once wrote that the hardest sound in Antarctica is silence. That line stays with many readers, because silence there is not simple quiet. It is deep. The wind stops. The sky stays still. The land holds its breath. For a moment you realize how small human life is on this huge planet. And yet people continue their work. They measure ice movement. They watch penguin colonies grow and change. They study the ocean water under the ice. All these small actions slowly build knowledge. Knowledge helps us understand climate change. Climate change means long-term changes in Earth's temperature and weather patterns. Antarctica plays a big role in this story. Its ice holds most of the planet's fresh water. If large parts of this ice melt, sea levels will rise around the world. Cities near oceans could face floods. So the work in Antarctica matters far beyond the frozen continent. And slowly, the image of Antarctica changed again. No longer just a place of brave explorers. No longer only a silent desert of ice. It became something deeper, a living laboratory for our planet. And this story still continues today, because the coldest continent on Earth is quietly helping us understand the future of our world. The story of Antarctica now moves into our own time. The frozen land still looks endless. The wind still travels across empty white plains. Yet the people who arrive today carry tools that earlier explorers could not imagine. Small aircraft land on ice runways. Satellites move high above the continent. They send pictures and data back to the rest of the world. Still, life on the ground stays simple. Most scientists live in stations that feel like small villages. Some stations hold only 20 people in winter. Others hold more during the summer months. Summer is the busy season in Antarctica. The sun stays above the horizon all day. Planes can land more easily. Ships break through sea ice to bring supplies. Teams travel far from the stations to study the land. They ride snow vehicles across wide fields of ice. Sometimes they walk slowly with sleds behind them. The land often looks empty, yet each step can reveal new information. A scientist may collect snow samples. Another may measure how thick the ice is. Some study the ocean under the frozen surface. To do this work, they drill deep holes through ice shelves. An ice shelf is a thick piece of ice that floats on the ocean but stays connected to land. Beneath these shelves, dark cold water moves slowly. In that dark water, strange life forms exist. Tiny animals live there. Some look almost transparent, meaning nearly clear like glass. Studying these creatures helps scientists understand how life survives in extreme places. Antarctica also helps us study space. Some telescopes sit on the high ice plateau. The plateau is a wide, flat area of high land. The air there is very dry and clear. This makes it easier to observe stars and distant galaxies. On some nights, scientists step outside the station and look up. The sky can look deeper than anywhere else on Earth. Millions of stars shine above the frozen land. At that moment, Antarctica feels less like the end of the world and more like a bridge to the universe. Yet even in modern times, the continent still demands respect. The weather can change quickly. A clear morning can turn into a strong storm by afternoon. The wind begins to rise. Your snow lifts from the ground and fills the air. Visibility disappears. Visibility means how far you can see. During these storms, people move carefully between buildings using guide ropes. These ropes stretch from one structure to another. Without them, someone could become lost only a few meters from safety. The cold remains powerful too. Temperatures can drop below -60 degrees Celsius. At such temperatures, exposed skin can freeze within minutes. Yet people continue their work with patience. They write notes, they check instruments, they collect data day after day. Slow work builds big understanding. Many scientists say Antarctica changes the way they see the world. Before arriving, they often think about the cold. After living there, they think more about silence. Silence that stretches across mountains of ice. Silence broken only by wind or the distant sound of a penguin colony. Those colonies can be lively places. Penguins gather in large groups near the ocean. They walk slowly across the ice with short, careful steps. Their feathers protect them from freezing water. Some species travel many kilometers just to reach the sea for food. Watching them reminds people that life adapts in surprising ways, even in the harshest places. I think this may be one of the quiet lessons Antarctica gives us. Nature does not always try to be comfortable, but life finds a path forward anyway. In recent years, more people outside science have become curious about Antarctica. Tour ships sometimes travel along the icy coast. Passengers stand on deck wearing thick jackets. They watch glaciers rise like frozen walls above the sea. Or they see whales surface in dark water. These visitors must follow strict rules. They cannot disturb animals. They must leave no waste behind. Antarctica stays protected by international agreements. This protection matters deeply. The continent holds clues about the health of our planet. Satellites now track how quickly ice sheets move. Ice sheets are enormous layers of ice covering land. In some areas, scientists see slow but steady changes. Some glaciers move faster toward the ocean. Sea ice forms and melts each year. These changes help researchers understand the larger system of Earth. System means many parts working together. The ocean, the air, the ice, and living creatures all influence each other. Antarctica sits at the center of this balance. What happens there affects people far away. Cities near warm beaches, farms in wide valleys, small islands in the open ocean. All are connected to the frozen south, and this brings the story gently back to daily life. A person might wake up tomorrow morning and check the weather again. Perhaps the day looks cold outside. Perhaps snow begins to fall. At that moment, Antarctica may feel very far away. Yet the cold wind touching your window belongs to the same planet where giant glaciers move slowly across white land. The same planet where small groups of people live months together in research stations. They wake, they work, they watch the sky. Their quiet work helps all of us understand the world a little better. Many explorers once believed Antarctica was empty, a silent place with nothing to offer. But today we see something different. The frozen continent holds memory. The memory of ancient air trapped in ice. Memory of brave journeys across snow. Memory of patient science carried out in small, warm rooms. All these stories live together in that distant land. And sometimes, when the night grows quiet and the air feels cold, it becomes easier to picture it. A wide white horizon, a slow-moving wind, a sky full of stars above endless ice. and somewhere in that calm darkness, a small station window glowing softly with light.